Hi, I'm Deb,
And I'm Brian.
and welcome to
Life
Life
in
in
Guatemala.
Guatemala. Today, we just kind of wanted to share a little bit more about our life here in Guatemala. So, we were out walking, and while we were out just strolling our area, we're in Zone 7 of Xela, Quetzaltenango, Guatemala. We started really paying attention to how many pharmacies there are just within a walking distance of our home. And one of the things people ask about a lot for moving down here, visiting, becoming an expatriate, whatever, is what about medical care? And pharmacies are a big part of medical care. And we visit pharmacies when we need a lot of different things here. So Brian had an idea. Let's make a pharmacy video.
Okay. I let you say a whole bit of things. Now
Okay.
I'm going to start talking.
Okay.
Um, yeah, as even when we lived in San Marcos, there's a lot of pharmacies. I think there's more pharmacies around than where we lived in Michigan. A lot of big pharmacies there. But here, there's just a great number of them, and some are pretty small, some are pretty specialized. Like uh, in the one mall, there's a pharmacy that caters to cardio or
Medicines,
cardiac,
cardiology.
yeah, cardiac
Yeah.
medicines or whatever. And there's others that maybe they're not quite as much of a pharmacy, but they cater to like medical supplies, like if you need braces or splints or wheelchairs, walkers, bedpans, uh, various different bandages besides just like a band-aid. There's those places, but as she said, there's a lot of pharmacies really within a 3-minute walk of where we live, 5-minute walk.
And on that note of having extra things, if you will, some of the pharmacies, many of them actually, the bigger ones more so, but have things like baby formula, and I've even seen almond milk and vitamins. It's not just prescription drugs at the pharmacies here. There's a lot. I mean,
Well, yeah,
these services too.
it'd be like, as I recall, in Michigan, our big three when we left was
Right.
CVS, Rite Aid, and Walgreens. A lot of those big stores, you could buy basic groceries in it. Here, some of the pharmacies, maybe a little bit of that, but I guess the main point of it is um, they have over-the-counter medicines here, but it's not the same as in the United
Right.
States, in my opinion. There's a lot of stuff that you have to go talk to the pharmacist to get.
Well, that's one of our favorite things is maybe you haven't gone to the doctor, you know kind of what's going on, but you need some medicine. If you go to the pharmacy and actually speak to the pharmacist here and tell them what you're feeling, what's wrong, your symptoms.
Or you even know what your prescription is.
Right.
There's been a couple of times that we've had prescriptions in the USA that you have to take the prescription of the pharmacy to get the medicine. Here, you can just go and tell them, I need this medicine. And I'll say 9 times out of 10, they will just give it to you. And I don't think it's that they're kind of breaking the law or anything like that. It's just there's more leeway for a pharmacist to dispense medicine,
Right.
except for
Opiates, things with
yeah, I believe that's what we understand.
narcotic style drugs, you would need a real prescription from an actual doctor to receive.
Yeah, and some of the things like the one pharmacy that I really like going to is called Cruz Verde because they tend to have things because they're kind of one of the bigger name brand ones. They may be a little bit more expensive on some items than
National chain also.
yeah
Yeah.
than a smaller one, but they have signs up there saying, we want to see your prescription. Receta
Yeah.
is prescription in Spanish, so they want to see that receta. But if you ask them for stuff, at least in our experience, they're willing to give it to you. And we've talked to some other expats too, and some have said they've even had places where they go, it's kind of a life threatening thing. They're trying to help somebody out, and this is in a smaller community, and they will give them whatever, even the opiate,
Type
painkillers or whatever. Somebody was in a bad accident.
Well, we've gotten tramadol before. My understanding is that has a little bit of an opiate in it, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a medical doctor.
I thought we had the prescription.
I went and refilled it. So
yeah. So, anyways, that's
now he mentioned Cruz Verde and some of the conveniences. Besides the fact that we can walk to a lot of these is Cruz Verde, and a lot of pharmacies have drive-throughs, but this one has a number of drive-up windows so that we don't have any problem if we're in the car or if we're not walking. But there's national ones. Batteries is another bigger national pharmacy. I think Galeno might be a national pharmacy.
Yeah, I think Pharmatodo is another one. I think
that might be municipal, but I'm not sure. I don't.
It could be the big one. A lot of the local Guatemalans use it. Is called ADF, and that's government run, government sponsored, something or other. It's
a lot of things there are less expensive by at least a little bit. I would say in general, that's why the locals go there, because things are less expensive.
Yeah, it can be less expensive, and maybe I don't know this because, and this is just purely supposition on my part, but they do have a form of Social Security here for employees, and it's almost like paying for medical care.
Yeah, they have a special hospital they go to.
Yeah, and maybe I don't know, but maybe part of that coverage includes a discount or something at the ADF pharmacy. I don't know that. It's just purely supposition on my part. But ADF will be, I mean,
there's lines there every day.
You can go to Cruz Verde, Beatriz, Farmacia Económica, and just walk right up and get your stuff. But if you go to the ADF, there might be 15 or 20 people in line. And there's at least 3 big ADFs here in Xela, and every one will have a line. So there is a reason. And like Debbie said, it can be a little bit cheaper, but it's not like it's half price or anything like that. You may be saving on a medicine that cost $20. You may be saving $1 or something. So it's not this huge savings.
One thing I found out, and I don't know if I could have gone somewhere else, but I went to Batteries, which is a national chain, for my insulin pens, and they wouldn't give them to me without a doctor's prescription. That's the first time I ran across that. But when I went to ADF, they did, and it was this exact same price I would have paid if I paid out of pocket through GoodRx, which is a helping thing in the United States, at least in Michigan. If your prescription doesn't cover something, GoodRx helps give you discounts. Yeah. And so it was the equivalent of $35 US per pen. And one pen lasted a month. So just so you have some idea. Now, here's another thing, because everybody thinks everything is so much cheaper here in Guatemala. That may or may not be true with medications. When people from the States during COVID asked me, could I get ivermectin? Yes, I can. I can get it over the counter. I can ask for pills or liquid, either way. But it's not cheap. It's not like,
No, that box, I think, contained 20-some or 30-some tablets.
But it was almost $100.
I thought it was like $50-some, $60-some.
I don't remember exactly. But it wasn't like, $5 a pill. It was more. And everything here is not necessarily lower because they don't have prescription coverage the way we think of it in the States. We're so used to having some form of insurance and having prescription coverage. We pay $5 or $10 copay and we walk away.
Depending on your insurance. And we, as we've said in another video, we do have Guatemalan health insurance. It's a policy or a company called Siempre Salud. And that does include some amount of prescription coverage.
If we go to the one in the hospital, yeah.
Let me finish.
Okay,
the key to it is you have to use the La Paz Hospital Pharmacy, and at least in Xela, that's kind of a smaller pharmacy. They don't have all the medicines. As a matter of fact, I've heard this. We haven't experienced it here the couple times we were in the hospital, but I have heard this that uh, sometimes you're in the hospital and the doctor's saying you need this medicine. They don't have it in the hospital. You have to send a family member to go get your prescription for you at a different pharmacy and bring it there. So it's, I mean, kind of pharmacy related, but just because you go to the hospital here and just because the hospital has a pharmacy doesn't mean it's necessarily the best stocked pharmacy.
Right.
I would guess that, I don't know. We've gone to La Paz Hospital, and the first time, and this is when you were in when we lived in San
Oh,
Marcos. That was, yeah, Hospital Privado, which because there's a Hospital Privado here,
probably in every town.
or it was called Especialidades, something like, I can't remember exactly, but um, when they discharged you, they gave us the prescription. We had to go and buy the medicines.
And
They didn't
that's
have it.
common when you leave a doctor's office here. I mean, even in the States, just a doctor's office.
Yeah, just the doctor's office. But in the hospital, a lot of times, not that I was in the hospital a lot, but I kind of figured they give you the medicines, or you can go to the pharmacy there, right there, and get the medicines and
Right.
go home. But I guess I did have that issue when I had my appendix rupture around me and stuff.
To get your medicine.
Yeah, and they didn't have the medicine, and they weren't going to discharge me until they knew I had it was an antibiotic.
Yeah.
And so I ended up spending, a half of the day just sitting in the room waiting for us to find that medicine. It was very hard to find.
So pharmacies in the States aren't perfect. Hospitals aren't perfect in the States, and we just want you to know here, the biggest thing is that there are many places to go. There are things available to you. If I can't find something right across the street, our closest pharmacy, Brian mentioned it, is Economica. We go there a lot because it's close. And if it's not there, we go to Batteries or Cruz Verde because they're also, everything's within walking distance.
Yeah.
And what you can't find in one place, you can usually find in the other one.
Yeah. What do we have that's right by us here is Farmacia Económica, Batteries, Galeno, Farmatodo. A little bit further down the street is Cruz Verde. And
there's a number of small non-chain pharmacies.
Exactly. There's like family owned or whatever. And those ones tend to have a lot less products. They might tend to sell more of the basic things, aspirins,
cold medicines, things like that.
Yep. Now, one thing I want to say as we're going on, a lot of the bigger pharmacies, they're open 24 hours, but a lot of times it's you have to drive up or walk up to a window and talk to somebody inside. They've closed all their doors and stuff. But if you walk up and there's normally a buzzer or a bell or something, you press that, somebody comes to the window and they can give you what you need.
And just a little extra, and we know exactly for sure one pharmacy because it says so on their sign, but I'm sure some of the other ones probably offer little services. For free, they'll check your blood pressure, your temperature,
blood glucose level.
But you have to pay for the little strip, right?
Strip. Hey, what was that? They do like a non-contact temperature, so I'm guessing that's the thing.
Strip for the ear, yeah.
Blood pressure. What if there's a fourth thing? I can't remember what it is. The one other thing we have found here that is kind of nice is if your
pulse rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Blood oxygen level too. They might put that little tab thing on your finger, and
so if you're just kind of curious of where you are, you can go to one of the pharmacies.
You have whatever kind of situation where you need to monitor something, and hey, you're a diabetic and you ran out of your things or whatever, you can go and pay them a very, I think it's, basically
for one of those strips.
It's basically pennies for one of those little strips, and they'll do it for you. What else was I going to say? One thing we found here is it does pay to shop around some if you're needing some medicines or something, because they do have sometimes a little bit price difference in the stuff, but sometimes they are working with a pharmaceutical company that has an offer on something, and I found that for a while. Um, I think we've talked about this in another video, but I had like a kidney stone, and to try and help it pass, they were giving me a medicine called tamsulosin, and it's kind of expensive
Yeah.
here. And I was taking that because it was initially prescribed by my U.S. doctor to try it, and because I didn't go through a full thing of testing, and she's saying you might have, and this may help, and so I was taking it, and I continued buying it down here, and it was
I don't remember.
I can't remember how much, but it was something that I bought it for a couple of 3, 4, 5 months or something or other, and I didn't like paying that price. Well, I was talking to somebody at I think
Cruz
it was a
Verde.
Cruz Verde,
Yeah.
and they said, "Hey, we have this
Buy
brand
two,
of this
get
stuff.
one free.
Yeah, buy two get one free." So yeah, the key was you had to buy all three at the same time. So
So, there's ways to make it less expensive. But we just wanted to take a few minutes to share with you if you're coming down to visit and you're concerned about, can I get my medications? Every medication that's in the States is not necessarily down here, or the names may be different. You may have to find out what is the generic name of your medication that you
well,
need.
this is one thing that I guess because a lot of medical terminology is Latin based, so a
Right.
lot of drugs might have a Latin based name. Spanish is a Latin language. So a lot of those words
It's like
are the same
insulin is
word.
insulina.
Yeah.
A lot of the medications I found end with Ina or O, or they're similar in name. Many, not
Yeah.
all of them, but many. But you can find it and put it in your Google Translate or whatever, and usually the pharmacy can find something that's similar. But always check, because the pharmacist is not, or the person working there, they might be just a person working at the counter, not necessarily a pharmacist. They might give you something that's not really what you're looking for. So make sure you read that that's really the medication you need and want, just to be sure, because you don't want to take the wrong stuff.
Yeah. Well, in some cases, in this, we've seen this in various medicines or over the counter things in the USA too. You have to know what all the ingredients, because sometimes they're a mix of something,
Right.
right? And you were looking for something that you wanted specifically to be this with this other medicine. And it was very easy and common to find that first ingredient with something else that you didn't want. So it you have to kind of be diligent, because if you just went up and said, I want, whatever this medicine is, they might give you something that's not exactly what you want. So you just got to be careful about that.
This is not exactly an example of what Brian was just talking about, but something like, there's some over-the-counter cold medicines here, and when we've had some, there's one that I prefer over another, and I'll go and ask for that brand, and if they don't have it, they'll show me this and say it's the same thing. It's like, it may seem like the same thing to you, but it doesn't work on me the way I want, which is why I want this thing specifically. So just be careful. That's all we're saying when you're going to the pharmacies. Um, any more thoughts, advice?
No, I think we've rambled on more than enough about this thing.
But just a little bit more information for you, and we hope that you like, share, subscribe, and come back for our next video.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
All right. Have a great day.